The fur market in Canada generates a considerable amount of economic activity. This means that from the trapper to the manufacturer, many people were needed to create these beautiful fur coats. Without a doubt, one of the most spectacular stages in the fur marketing process is the fur auction that draws buyers from Europe, Asia, and North and South America. Today, 30 to 40% of the Canadian fur production is handled by our large international auction houses, mainly by Hudson's Bay Fur Sales Canada Limited and North Bay Fur Sales. It's usually to the trapper's advantage to sell their pelts at an auction where they can expect to get the best prices for their furs, depending on current fashion trends and the quality of the lots put up for auction. The furs are brought to the auction house by truck from various depots set up across the country. This depot network, which is administered by the auction house, reduces transportation costs and encourages more and more trappers to use the auction system. Each one of these bags that the receiver takes delivery of is identified by a shipping tag containing a detailed inventory of the bag's contents and the name of the trapper it belongs to. The receiver then begins the standard receiving procedure. After emptying the bag, he sorts the pelts into separate species piles, making sure that each pelt is either tagged or stamped, depending on the regulations of the region from which it has come. Next, he counts the pelts of each species and compares his inventory with the information on the shipping tag. Finally, he checks to see if his total number matches the total on the tag. If it doesn't, he does a recount, and if he's sure that there's been a mistake, he writes a discrepancy report. Once the contents of the bag have been counted and verified, the receiver writes the information from the shipping tag onto a receipt form. He then attaches it to the shipping tag and signs it. Next, he takes this information to the computer area, where data from the receipt forms are entered. Both the receipt form and the shipping tag are filed so that they can be referred to later if necessary. The computer immediately performs two operations. It stores all the information taken from the receipt into its memory. It then prints out a series of uniquely numbered tags in sequential order, one for each pelt on the receipt form. The receiver takes these tags back to his work table and attaches one to each of the pelts. The system makes a second verification possible, as the number of tags printed out by the computer must correspond exactly to the number of furs spread out on the table. The pelts are then taken to the drumming room. The purpose of the drumming process is to remove any dirt or impurities that may be in the fur. The buyers will have a better idea of the value of the furs once they've been cleaned. After this step, the furs are distributed to different rooms of the building. Beaver pelts are taken to what is known as the beaver room, mink pelts to the mink room, and so on. This is where the pelts are graded. First, the pelts are sized using measurement techniques that vary from species to species and that are recognized throughout the fur industry. Here, beaver pelts are being grouped according to size into 7 categories. A professional grader then subdivides each of these categories into smaller lots according to the quality of the pelts. The quality is determined by the texture, density, and color of the fur, flaws in the skin, or other criteria related to each species. Once the grading is finished, each one of the resulting lots is assigned a unique number, called a lot number. This lot number is then stored in the computer's memory, along with the tag numbers of each fur in the lot and the grade of the lot. When the computer has all of this information, it prints out a catalog that sequentially lists the characteristics of each lot, including the respective grading and the number of pelts per lot. Of course, it's impossible to put out all the graded furs for inspection. Sample lots are therefore taken from each of the grades and put on display for prospective buyers. The other pelts are stored in refrigerated rooms under controlled temperatures, awaiting new destinations. The catalogs describing the lots are distributed to the buyers when they come to inspect the sample lots before the auction. Once the buyers receive credit approval, they're assigned a personal identification number to be used during the auction. It takes the buyers several intensive days of examining and evaluating to inspect the furs. The personal notes that they write in their catalogs now will later guide their bidding in the auction. The actual auction is conducted by a professional auctioneer who offers the lots in sequential order, based on a realistic evaluation that will enable the trappers to get the best market prices possible. This auction system allows for a wider and more open participation by the fur buyers. As soon as a lot is sold, its sale value is fed into the computer. Because the tag numbers of each fur included in the lot are already in the computer's memory, the gross return to the trapper can be calculated immediately. After the auction house's commission is deducted, along with various royalties and sometimes previously issued advances, a final check is made out in each trapper's name. A statement is attached to the check indicating, for each of the pelts, the tag number, grade, lot number, and sale value obtained for that lot. The trappers also receive a complete computerized report of the sales results, organized by species and grade. This allows them to compare the amounts they received for their furs with the sales values of the other lots. It's not unusual for the graders to write comments right on the attached check statements concerning the way the furs were handled and prepared by the trappers. This is done to help the trappers. At the same time that the trappers' checks are drawn up, the invoices for the buyers are prepared within an hour. This system makes it possible to verify the payment balances and the invoicing on a day-to-day basis. In the last stage of the process, the fur lots are shipped to the buyers, who had come to the auction from many different countries. More often than not, the furs are taken to dressing plants for further processing before going to the garment manufacturers, where they will undergo their final transformation.